Hello YouTube and welcome back to my channel. So I know it's been a little while between videos. I have actually been doing other stuff. I've been helping one of the other guys in the group build his shed. I'll post a couple of photographs now of what we've done. But it's a Dunster's cabin. It's like a big kit if you like. And so we did the slab. And then we built the shed. It's only a couple of days work to get the vast majority of it done. And to be fair, it did go together really well. Something I actually wanted to video sort of like from start to finish and then just do sort of a speeded up thing. But due to one thing or another, that didn't happen. But anyway, here's a couple of photographs just to sort of show you like a tiny little bit of progression. So going back to my layout, again, I have actually done some bits and pieces of work on it. I've finished the rock face now, which is kind of around the back of the parcels depot, and I've also done some little bits and pieces. This piece here, sort of down here now, is the car park, and what you're looking at is sort of like wood chip, or that happens to be like chipboard. Obviously, I've got to paint it yet, but I wanted like a sort of a roughish surface. I know there's loads of different ways of doing this. I know a lot of people use filler and had some really good successes, but I just thought I wanted to try something different. So what I did was I put the glue down, put a chipboard on top, and then what I've done is I've then obviously glued that down to the baseboard. So I'm hoping that that's going to be good enough. And then what I'll do is I'll give it a coat of browns with the airbrush and I'll see what it looks like. But as I said, I wasn't looking for a completely rough finish, but I just wanted sort of like an unmade up ground sort of finish, and I'll do some weathering to highlights and bits and pieces in there. So that's the plan for that. So I've sort of been progressing tinily with things. Some of it I've done on camera, some of it I've done off camera, yeah, so that's there has been slight progress over the last couple of 3 months. But now I'm hoping to sort of get back into it a bit more and try and bring you some more videos. That's the plan. Okay, so I've got myself one of the Scale Models barn stroke store things. I do believe this is a fairly recent model out, or kit out anyway, I should say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out building it, but I'm not going to build it like this. I'm going to put my own brick on it, and also I'm going to do a sort of a metal, like corrugated metal roof on it as well, and I'm going to heavily rust it. I am going to rust it through with sort of like, so it's going to sort of look really decrepit and sort of not like sort of like long since been in use. But I'm going to have a go at sort of recreating that, but with the metal roof. And also I'm going to have the door, but I'm going to try and sort of like distress the door something, so as it looks it's a bit rotten and bits and pieces. So don't really know how it's going to come out, so let's find out. As I say, this is a kit from Justin at Scale Model Scenery. Like I said, I do believe it's fairly new as well. The code is KX057-00, obviously for OO. Right, so we're going. So that's the roof tiles that he supplies, which I'm not going to use because I'm going to go with corrugated metal. So I'm not going to use these. I'm going to put that to one side. It's nice to see that also you've got like the structure of the roof as well. Wasn't sure whether you're going to get that or not, so that's good. That's the actual barn itself, and then this is the sliding door that goes on the front. So what I'll do is when I come around to doing this, I'll sort of going to take chunks out of it and bits and pieces and see if we can get it and see if it's rotted away. So first thing to do is get it out of the sprue. marvellous. I think that's all that. So I'm just going to as you can see, I've completely been through all the drawings and everything else, so I know exactly what's what on Uzo. Not. Couldn't have been any more difficult. I would have thought this would have been the base, but clearly not. Obviously the roof trusses go on across there. Is that then? Oh right, I see. So you've got a choice of backs or fronts, if you like. So if you don't want to use the that door, the big door, you can either put that in, or if you don't want to use a little door on the back, you can put that in. So basically you've got a choice with whether you just want a little door, big door, both doors, or one door. Right, I knew that. So we're going to not have a door in the back. That don't go like that anyway, does it, you idiot? Right, there you go. Take two. So all I've done there is I've not used the one with the door on the back because I don't want that. So that's it. Brilliant. Next plan I want to do is I'm going to, before I assemble it properly, is I'm going to cover this with the brick. Now I'm not totally sure which brick to use, whether I want to use Southeastern fine cast bricks or if I want to use wheels, depending on because obviously the wheels ones might give me a better finish, but there's a fair bit of work involved in filing them down, etc, etc. But the computer decides to tell me something. Now looking at it, I think the Southeastern fine cast, I know it's difficult to see from that distance, but I think that that'll still give me the finish that I want, and it'll obviously make my life a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get myself a sheet of this, and I'm also going to go and prime these up both sides, and then once I've done that I'll come back to you. And then what the plan is to stick the brickwork on, and then once I've done that I'll cut it. Once that's on and stuck solid, I'll then cut it out so as it's on there, cut the shape of the door out, etc. Do the same with the edges, and then that'll be that bit ready to go. Then I can assemble it and we will do the roof trusses as well. Right, so once I've done that I'll come back to you. Okay, so this is as far as I got with my build. So what I've done is I've used, this is Southeast Fine Cast. That's the brickwork. That's just the plain bond. I've used Slater's tin on the roof. That is the corrugated metal. I've also cut bits and pieces out. One, because I wanted to, there's a lot of like lattice work and stuff that goes into this, and with all that covered, you really wouldn't see it. So I've sort of cut bits out that sort of maybe have sort of been taken away in the wind and stuff. Bear in mind, this building is something that's just going to sort of be old and decrepit and long since disused. So I'm not too worried about having holes in the roof. I've not gone ridiculously mad, but I've decided that I just want to sort of distress the roof out a little bit. I'm quite pleased with the colours, quite pleased with the way that roof's come out. I intend to just try and weather it a little bit more so as we can a bit more light on it. I think it's going to just need a coat of matte varnish as well at the moment. I think it's a little bit shiny. But this has all been painted, all the painting and everything else has all been done with oil paints on this, which is fine, but you do need to allow a little bit more drying time with them as opposed to sort of like acrylics and bits and pieces. But like I made up the wash for the bricks, for the mortar for the bricks, and that again is an oil paint. I'm really pleased with the way the yellow's come out. I know a lot of people sort of like, I think we all pretty much go for the reds. I think the yellows sometimes get a little bit overlooked, but I decided for this one I was going to go with yellows, and I'm really pleased I did. And what I've done is I put like sort of quite a dark, almost similar to this colour really, in there to act as sort of like the mortar, which I think has come out alright. These bits on the edge, I'm not totally sure what they represent. I've just put them on there because it just tidies up my rough corners. But I think if I was doing it again, what I would do is I would just cover these in brick as well, and then just have them sort of standing out. But I mean, you could say that this was a warehouse back in the day. You'd have had forklifts and bits and pieces running around it, and they've just added a bit of extra protection to the corners. I sort of painted them in that sort of colour and sort of this sort of semi-weathered and sort of semi-beat up and stuff. I might just give them sort of a bit of a wash just to darken them down just a little bit more. So that's as far as I've got so far as that goes. All I intend to do now is just try and add a little bit. There is quite a lot of colour tone anyway. If you look on the roof, there is a fair few different colour tones on there. But the plan is just to sort of like add a little bit more now, do just some streaking, try and get another coat on this top bit as well, just to sort of blend that in a bit better. And the door, I haven't gone with a door in the kit. Basically what this door is here is just some coffee stirrers that I put together, and then sort of distressed a little bit and painted up, sort of try and make it look like it's sort of a bit rusty, or not rusty but rotten, and sort of just hanging there by a thread if you like. So that'll go on there like so. I'm actually going to use this bit here, came in a kit which I've also done to match that as well, so I'm going to stick that on. That'll go on there like that somewhere, not totally sure where, and then I'm just going to sort of have the door closed, you can't really see inside, or maybe hanging off a bit or something like that. So you'll end up with something like that. Also I'll put a handle on the door as well, just so as you know, as I said, it's been long since something that's been used. This is just going to sort of go on the end of the layout, sort of covered in the trees anyway. But I don't think that'll look too bad when it's finished. It's a nice little kit actually. I suppose, as I said earlier, I could have just scratch built that myself, but the actual sort of kit, as you can see, does give you sort of a really good solid foundation to work from, and you know there is a lot of stuff going on in there, so that's what I sort of quite keen to just sort of keep the kit and then just sort of overlay it. So your next job is just to try and add a bit more streaking on the roof and just try and lose that a little bit. then I'm going to sort of fix the door on, and then I might just put a real sort of light wash just down on the bricks as well, just to sort of try and take that out. And then once all that's done, I shall just give it a quick spray of matte varnish just to sort of dull it all down, and then that'll be ready for planting on the train set. So right, next job is to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go a lot darker. So I'm just going to add almost like a black on there and just let it sit for a bit, and then I'm going to streak that down. So I'm not going to get carried away. Famous last words. Okay, so this is, I'm going to call this finished. I might, once it dries, I might actually just sort of add some weathering powders to the roof, maybe put a little bit of white on there as well, as if like birds and stuff have been landing on there, because I'm sure that they probably would. But I think in the main that is done. So every single bit of this has been painted with oil paints. They do have to allow a little bit more drying time than what you would perhaps for sort of, you know, your other paints, but they do mix nicely. So you can end up with like some quite nice streaky bits and pieces. And so that's one I've sort of been mucking around this morning. Pretty much most of it has been Winsor & Newton. I've also used some 501s as well, but I do prefer the Winsor & Newton. I think that they're a better colour. But even the ones that said on quick drying time, you still got to allow sort of, well, I think you need to allow sort of 24-48 hours between coats. Other than that, you do sort of start to get it blending back into each other. What I've done with the door, they're actually coffee stirrers, and I've used inks. So I toned the coffee stirrers down with inks. Again, Winsor & Newton inks. These ones, so I've used those just to sort of get the base colours. Again, I wanted it to sort of look like sort of as if the door was rotted away and stuff, and that's obviously why I've done the distressing on it. But yeah, I think that's pretty good. I was going to put a handle on it, but I decided probably not to. It's something that's is disused, is decrepit, and if you go in there, you're likely to have something fall on you. So I think it's something that's going to be well out of use. And when I plant it on the train set, what I'm going to do is I'll plant it somewhere, and I'll put the trees and bits and pieces around it. I might even see if I can sort of get a tree growing out the roof. So that's that. Look for that video later. This is part of the kit, the sort of like the runners, if you like, where the door would run in. But I've beefed that up with a piece of plastic card with some microstrip, basically, just sort of, you probably won't be able to see that, but there's a piece of microstrip just to sort of bring this edge out just slightly, just to sort of give it a bit more, sort of make it look a bit beefier. Plus that, as I'm using coffee stirrers, they are a little bit thicker than what the original door was. I think the original, this was the original door, and I've that was the original door, and obviously that's what I've gone with. Also, the original door does come with like runners and bits and pieces in there as well. But because I've beefed that up, it's not the end of the world. The runners could sort of be up inside there, and you wouldn't necessarily see them. I was thinking about putting another strip in to sort of angle down, because sometimes you do see that, but I didn't bother. And sort of like at a glance, I don't think that looks too bad. I've also done a little tiny bit of streaking, sort of just away from like obviously where this metal would be starting to rust, and you get a little bit of wash down the wall. So that's basically what I've done there. I've highlighted the roof a bit more, so there's a few more sort of just subtle tones in there, just to sort of take it all the way from one colour. That's I've looked at sort of tin roofs as I've sort of gone around, you know, and they do rust out really quickly, so that's not uncommon to sort of see one that's totally rusted. And as I said, bear in mind, this is a building that sort of sat around for years and no one's been there, so it's not going to have had any sort of maintenance done, apart from, you know, the absolute bare minimum to stop it from becoming a health hazard. What I might do is just sort of like add a little bit of white on the top of there, obviously where the birds have sat on it in bits and pieces, just to sort of, once that's completely dry, I might just dry brush some white on there, just to say, just where the birds have sat. But on the whole, I'm quite pleased with that. I think that's come out okay. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. First time I've used the inks for the doors, first time I've used the oil paints, so it's a bit of a learning experience. I'm sure there are people out there that could do a lot better than that, but I'm quite pleased with it. I think it's nice. I think by the time it's actually planted on the layout as well, you're not really gonna, it's not going to be one of them buildings that's going to be sort of in your face, look at this. It's going to be more one that's just going to be tucked away, and if you see it, you see it. So yeah, there you go. So that is my build of the Scale Model Sceneries barn kit. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.